Yo boys, back with another video. Today we are going to be playing a different type of road build. I just basically copied, so by no means did I find this build out. I think Polymore did or somebody else, but nonetheless, it'll be in the description if you want to know what build it is. Basically, all you're doing is using your burst, you're using badge, using cool blood into a huge echo, and obviously I'm having a little FPS problems like usual. So it is a lot of damage. Unfortunately, it is basically all the damage you're going to be doing, but off that, your Shadow Strikes actually hit for a lot while you're doing your burst. So like while you're clicking everything, your Shadow Strike do a lot of damage. Your Viscerates not so much, but your Shadow Strike and your Echoing just absolutely farm. So right now, I'd say sub's in a really good spot. I don't really like having to rely on one button though. I would rather them nerf the Echo and then allow us to have like the original Eviscerate Shadow Strike damage. Echoing shouldn't be doing damage. Like I obviously should have some type of damage, but nowhere near what it's doing. But you know, regardless, I'll take whatever we can get for Rogue since I'm a Rogue player, so whatever. If obviously if they nerf other classes and how they're doing it, then I think Sub Rogue definitely is going to need a nerf. But if they're just keeping everything the same, I don't think they should go through and nerf one class at a time. If you're going to nerf something, nerf an entire board full of stuffs or buffs. Obviously, Fire Mages need buffed because Fire Mage is doing really insanely bad right now. But yeah, basically all you're doing is you're going now. I've seen this different ways. You can gouge first and then do it, but I'm just gonna say the way that I've been doing it. Now, if you can gouge, gouge, but it's not really a super big deal. Usually, you're just gonna open with a cheap shot. Then you're gonna use your burst macro, which is my Shift X, which does my shadow dance, my badge, all that good stuff. And then you're gonna cold blood into a fat echo, and that's all you're basically doing. So you'll see here that I blind for Trinket. He uses the auto Trinket, and as you can see, it's so fast that you can't even tell, but he goes from 100 to 30, and then he instantly goes down by my Druid's damage, because my Druid is also doing a lot of damage. So these are obviously scrims, so these aren't like the best in slot players or nothing like that. We only faced we out of like the 40 50 arenas we've done today, I maybe faced like 6 people that not even maybe like 3 that are actually like good, I'd say, if that's the word to put it. So here I'm gonna blind, or actually we're not gonna open on the rogue. The reason is they're not doing anything on my guy. So if this guy used Shadow Dance and his badge and stuff, that's when you wanna open or blind. So he tries baiting me out here. He uses his badge here. The DH stuns me, so it DRs me. He ends up blinding. We're not gonna trinket. He guy ends up breaking the blind. So his main goal is to get my trinket, and then he's gonna full send me, and that's all he's trying to do. So here he tries to get away. I sap him as soon as he vanishes, and then basically we're just taking him out. Never want to vanish in Shadow. We don't unless you have to, which in that situation he kind of had to. So he ends up getting smoked real quick. Pretty much that is how that goes. This is a tank, by the way. So this is a tank DH, and he obviously tries to do the good old fashioned 1v2 like you use. And actually, never mind. No, he ends up. Oh wait, nope. I was about to say you almost had me. You almost had me there. He debated me. I'm not gonna lie about that one. So yeah, that's all you're doing with the build. You're basically just getting your cool blood and then your echo for a fat one, and that's it. Other than that, you're just spamming shadow strikes. Your shadow strikes are doing a lot of damage while you have all of that stuff activated. Now at the time I didn't have that much gear, but now I'm already at like 406 item level. My guy's fully geared, like right now. But me, I'm not really that. I'm like half geared. So yeah, I'm basically almost fully geared now, so I'll have to test out the build, and see how it is when I'm max gears. But as you can see, this guy has that thing on, which I didn't realize. I didn't really care for it. So we end up 150ing him. He ends up stopping time, so we can't do much there. The guy ends up walling my sap. I end up sapping his trinket. He ends up walling, so he ends up doing double wall before we even started getting on him. Never want to click wall if you're CC'd, unless you're physically stunned and you're taking damage. Wasting double wall is the worst thing that you can do. But this is a scrim, so I don't really expect the best of the best. My DRs, as you can see on my Gladius, are overlapping with certain things, which is annoying, so I can't even see the DR. I just RNG'd, honestly. I'll be like, whatever. So I RNG Kinney. Now, the thing is, even if it's a DR Kinney, you still get the bonus damage. So every time you stun as a rogue, you get that bonus damage for everyone. So doesn't really matter, especially if it's a 1v2. It wouldn't even matter at that point. We end up taking him out and easy dub. There is a lot of evokers, a lot of DHs. I've been facing a decent amount of subs too, and windwalkers. Basically, everything around the board. Now there is those 5 classes that are rolling. Like you don't really see much mages or enhancement shamans or that anymore. You just basically see DH, rogue, evokers, druids. Basically everything that's doing very well right now. As you can see, we end up taking on the DH here. He tries to one-shot me. I end up cloaking it. My guy pre-survivals it, so his one-shot's irrelevant. And pretty much that's all there is to it. So this is a 1v1 situation. We respect the 1v1s out here at all costs. So it's full gear versus half gear. I kind of knew I'd win. Now, they do have a lot of leech right now, like an insanely amount. I don't know if you guys have been facing a DH, but they do an insanely amount of healing. So here, we end up getting them 50%. As you can see, my Shadow Strikes are actually doing damage. Now, my Eviscerates, not so much. They do around 10k still, so they're pretty useless. But my Shadow Strike-wise, they're doing, 20 to 40k, which is a lot of damage. He ends up darknessing, but it was kind of late. You'd really have to trinket instantly if you want to survive a rogue right now. But here's another situation. This Boomy actually did a lot of damage. He's running this mushroom talent build to where it's basically like a cosmic trinket, but in mushroom wise, and it hits for like 40k a pop, and he can do 3. So this guy ends up breaking blind. The druid ends up trinking the stun here, and at this point, the rogue uses his one shot on me. It doesn't work out for him. He gets me to about 50%. Usually full gear, if they're decent geared, the one shot doesn't actually do that much. Like it doesn't do 100-0, but it does a lot of damage right now. Matter of fact, it still does enough to where you can kill something. Now, you sometimes will face a hunter that just pet sacks it, and then you're not doing any damage at all. Or like if a CD, same thing. If they have a CD, they're usually not gonna die. It's just not gonna happen. But it's definitely playable right now. Sub's not in a terrible spot. Now, I haven't been fully geared. I haven't faced anybody that's been fully geared. Like anything plate or something, I think they're really tanky. But here's a situation where these guys are under geared, and you'll see right here how the one shot works versus somebody with no gear. Ends up getting legit obliterated. So these guys have obviously no gear. We end up facing them later down the road. They end up getting like 250k, so they end up getting gear real quick. But this is basically, and my guy bites him from 50 to 0. So with no gear wise, you feel like you're just like you're a god. But when you actually face somebody with gear, you don't really do that much damage. You feel like you're kind of weak. Now, yeah, that's just. I think that's how. I think it's gonna be a BFA where on your burst you're gonna be doing some type of damage, but off your burst you're not really gonna be doing much. Now you guys can let me know on that. But I've been facing Demo Locks and Shadow Priest, and I'm telling you, Demo Locks pets are whacking me for about 20k per 0.5 auto attack, and trust me, it hurts. I've been soloed by several Demo pets, so I would definitely try out Demo. I think it's definitely gonna be the best. It's gonna be S tier for sure. It's definitely gonna be either the number 1 or number 2 class in the game. So I definitely try out Demo, see whatever the best in slot. But at this point, I knew it wasn't over. This guy has no trinket. He does have wall. So this is a situation to where you're not going to be one-shotting. These guys are geared. I'm at 387, so I end up checking out. So I'm like 30 item level something, or I don't even know what the best in slot item level. I end up 150 him, and then I get him to 30, and he ends up living by a second. Now if I would have trinketed instantaneously, I probably would have killed him like right there, but I still kill him regardless. So you're not going to be getting those one-shots like you would when they're undergeared, but you're still doing enough damage. Even though he was, leather, which monks take a lot of damage. Now, the one thing I do not like is not having a re-stealth shield. It's insanely frustrating trying to get a re-stealth versus anything that can bleed. It just feels impossible to get a re. I end up sapping this guy. So insane. But off your damage, you're really just nothing. That's the thing that I hate. I would rather than nerf the Echo and then give us, like, consistent like burst damage, like where we're actually hitting fat eviscerates and stuff like that. But this one shot like build is not really fun to play. Like it's fun, but it's not really skillful. It's nothing. Everyone's running it. It's boring. When everyone's running something, it doesn't become fun. Especially something like this, where you just click your cool blood and then everyone can do it. It's like there's nothing special about Sub Rogue right now. It's just click your cool blood. And then off that, you're basically just a stun bot, which I just don't like. I'd rather have like the Shadowlands type of vibe where you're doing damage on your burst. But I'll take whatever I can get. It is Blizzard after all. I can't really expect them to do, If they did the gear right, the gearing system really fast. I got full honor gear in like a day. So insanely fun. Let's hope the conquest is that way too. You never want to end up rupturing the druids unless you know you're gonna be able to get a restart. The reason is because you're gonna be gouging for resets if you can. So here's a situation where I'm not gonna be able to get a re or a proper re. So basically we Kinium here, we're gonna reset. We don't have dance. Anytime you can Kinium and you don't have Shadow Dance, just get out of there, bro. There's no point of being there. This is another situation I try to stab him. He ends up getting me out. This guy he's the DR stun king. He probably is the same thing with me, where you can't even see the DR, so you're just yellowing it. You don't even care at that point. So having double vanish though is really nice. It definitely is. If we didn't have the utility that we had, we wouldn't even be playable because we die so fast. So having our utility is really insane. So as you can see, it's overlapping my DR. So I'm basically going to use my Shadow Dance as a Shadow Dance. So when you ever use Shadowy Duel, you basically get a free Shadow Dance. It's actually not really good because you don't get the extra damage, but it's good enough to where you can open on it. And you're basically just backstabbing and trying to get the kill. But if you guys want to know the build, it'll be down in the description. Just check it out, click it, import it, check it out for yourselves. A lot of people already know it because everyone's been doing YouTube videos on it, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I would just copy the what I do is I copy whatever the nerd rogues are doing. So I'd say like Naj, like whatever Naj is doing, just copy what he's doing. People are buying like 100k enchants like overall because they're costing so much. This is a game where I CC this healer so much that I would AFK. So this guy has not that much gear. This is almost 130. He ends up freezing time. Or actually, no, he ends up surviving. Now look at the druid on the warrior right now. So he's pumping him. I blind him here, so that's a full blind. I'm gonna vanish. Now I'm gonna sap off the blind. So watch all this CC. A full blind and a full sap. So a full sap right there. The warrior's still alive somehow. I'm gonna full shadowy duel into a full DR gouge. So it's a shadowy duel into a full kidney. So this is a insane CC chain. By then the guy's dead, and it's a GG no re. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Tuesday we do have rated arenas coming out, so we will have some fun in those. But other than that, it's basically gonna be scrims until then. But let me know what you guys think of the build, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, peace.